Hey, it's Ken! Alright, here's the deal. Last video was about my eyeball, and it's like a continuation of it. But it was because I brought my mother up, because she was with me with my eye surgery and sort of all this fun stuff and helping me move. And her birthday's coming up, so I figured I'd do a little video about her. She gave birth to me. In fact, she gave birth to me when she was 20 years old, so we're 20 years apart. So I'm 33, she's gonna be 53. But to talk to her, like when people meet my mom, they always say, she doesn't seem like she's that old. No, she's very young at heart. She's a goofy person. And when people get around her and she'll do some random weird thing or she'll be herself, I just let them know, I grew up with that. That's what I've had to deal with. I mean, her and I have done some weird stuff. Like, we've randomly taken off to go to Pittsburgh in the middle of the night, or we randomly have gone very goofy. Just, I will say my mom, she's been very, she's where I get, my dad can be bubbly. Can. But it's very rare, because he's just so uptight, and he's just different. But I definitely get the bubbliness from my mother. If you guys get a chance to see her, she laughs at all sorts of stuff, and she'll get frustrated, but then she'll be like, yeah, hi, just very odd that way. And that's who I've had for a mother. She's just an odd girl, like and people will meet me, they get to know me, and then they meet her, and they're like, that's where you get it from. I'm like, okay. I don't know, her and her sisters, they're my aunts. When you get them girls together, they laugh and carry on, and they get really wound up. And my mom, 53, well, will be 53, to me, she's still in her early 40s. Just her attitude, just, like, and despite everything she's been through, and that girl's weathered a few storms. Some pretty bad ones. She's she I guess you want to say in a breath, she's always supported me in everything I've ever done. I mean, she's given me attitude. And I have been the wonderful son of hers that has tested out her theories, and I've lost. She's interesting that way. You really don't tell her that no to something. You don't tell her that, oh, you can't do that because that's where I get it from. She'll go and do it just to spite you. Like, fine. Or else she won't even tell you she did it until afterwards. Like, you went and did that? I'm like, well, who else is going to do it? She's a goof that way. Very down to earth, very, very understanding. Even if she doesn't fully understand something, she has enough in her head to go, okay, that's your story. That's what you've had to deal with. But she's compassionate. Sometimes I think she's too compassionate, and I've told her that. Uh, she basically is a big heart with two eyeballs. That's the kind of person she is. She's got a, and I'm amazingly fortunate for it. That's, oh, my phone. But I'm amazingly fortunate to have her, because I look back and stuff. Oh, her and I've had arguments. People meet us. They're like, "Well, you two have a really good relationship." I'm going, "It wasn't always like this." And my mom will tell you, he didn't always think I was the person I am. I used to think she was a meanie about stuff and unreasonable, unfair, and pushed me to do things I didn't want to do, kicking and screaming. But I look back at it now, and it's like, I get it. It's like, I fully understand why you're doing it, and I wasn't the easiest kid to deal with at times, I'm 70% German, well, 75% German, if you will, so I'm cantankerous, argumentative, I can be very, she definitely knew how to pick battles with me, but when my mother, if I had to compare my mother to an animal, I would call her an elephant, and I'm not making fun of her weight. It's like an elephant, very docile, very, they're not very, just, they're docile, very, just laid back animals, if you will, if you want to call it that. But when need be, they have a lot of power at their disposal. And I've seen her do some pretty interesting things. I look back and go, wow, you balanced all that. She's not a weak-willed person. She's not feeble-minded. She's got a brain in her head. She's one of those women that are, how do I say it? as I've gotten older, I've looked back and realized she needs more credit than what she gets. Like, she really does. She's had to do things, and I know that people, I know about them, but a lot of people don't realize the struggles she's had to deal with. Her husband certainly didn't make things easy on her. I mean, she has her faults and all, don't get me wrong about that. She's made a few mistakes in her life, but I get it from her where you own your mistakes. You admit them, you know you're human, you know what you're gonna do, and I don't know, I must just be getting older and I'm looking back and I see things with that one eye of mine that, I don't know, I have an appreciation for it now. I can see things in the way I can see now with an adult mindset as to why she did what she did. And I don't know, she's got a lot that she probably doesn't think much of herself, and I know she doesn't, but I did try to do things to get her to go out and to try new things. I've taken her places to get out of the house. We took her to the beach, and her first trip to the beach ever was Randy and I took her, and it was to the Outer Banks. And I have to admit, it was one of the coolest things, if not the coolest thing I could ever do for her, because she loves lighthouses. She has this thing with lighthouses. She loves lighthouses. She loves. And you can buy her lighthouses galore. I mean, she just loves the darn things. The first lighthouse I took her to was up at Presque Isle. Took her up to that beach there at Presque Isle, and it was freezing cold, of course, in like February. And then I got to take her down to the Outer Banks with Randy. She got to go up in the tallest lighthouse in North America. Mind you, she's scared of heights. She doesn't do well with them, but she somehow went up the flight of steps with the heat index was like 95 in the building, up all these steps, walked around outside and took pictures of Gold. I'm going, really? And what she didn't realize, we had a surprise for her. It was her first time to the beach, first time in the lighthouse, first time this far away from home. Okay, and we took her to a hotel room. We were getting ready to leave to go back to my aunt's house, supposedly. Pulled up to the beach one last time, got out, walked up, and it was getting dark. And I said, "You really like it here, don't you?" She goes, "Oh, I'd love to come back. I'd love to come back." I said, "Really?" She goes, "Oh, I like it here. I really, why? What about it?" I'm like, "Well, you really like being here." She goes, "Yeah, I do." She goes, "Well, we'll have to plan a trip next time, Kenneth, and come back for a week, you know." And she's being all rational about it. And I said, "Well, why don't we get a test run?" She goes, "What do you mean a test run?" And I pulled out these papers from Wikipedia, and I said, "Well, there's 2 buildings down. There's a hotel room with a beachfront property with a private balcony with your name on it for tonight." And she's like, "Nah!" And she said a few words I can't repeat. And I'm like, "No, really, we have it. We have all the stuff we guys got to do." She was so ecstatic. I don't think she slept that night. She got to see the sunrise, got to see dolphins, got to watch the sunrise. We are dead tired. We did all this driving. I mean, we drove like 13 hours to get there, and we stopped at my aunt's house and we enjoyed her for the day, and then went over to the beach for the day, and she was just so wound up. And then my mom was dragging her butt when we got to the beach, but when she found out, she was like, "Come on, Kenneth, I'm tired of walking. What do you want?" And I'm like, and once she realized she was staying at the beach for the night with a private balcony, with a beachfront private balcony, it's amazing the second wind she caught. She was like outrunning us. She's like, "Oh my gosh!" She's like getting all excited, and it was a real, I don't know, she didn't see it coming, mind you, the whole way to the beach, she was kind of complaining to me about how we packed all her stuff up in the Jeep, and we're like, and I'm like, "Joy, just don't worry about, don't worry about, don't worry." And we got there, and it dawned on her why we packed her stuff up, and she looks back, she walked back in off the balcony and goes, I said, "Now you see why we packed everything up in the vehicle, but I couldn't tell you why." And she just went, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And then she called her friends and she was telling me, "I guess you owe your son an apology, don't you?" "Yeah, you go apologize. Stay surprised with the trip to, stand overnight." And that's just one of the things I've done for her. But I've done all sorts of little goofy things like that, but that's one of the big ones. But she's definitely, she's dealt with a lot of trials. She's weathered, in the time I've known her, obviously my whole life, she's weathered a few storms. But as you know, the quotes and things she gives me is and one day she looked at me when I was having a bad day. Believe it or not, I do get them. She goes, Kenneth, just remember something. And I'm like, what? She goes, it's not the size of the dog that's in the fight. It's the size of the fight that's in the dog. And of course, I'm like, you know, duh. And one day I was just talking, and she goes, Kenneth, don't outsmart your common sense. She goes, you're not dumb. You're far from it. Think about what you're doing. She has all these quotes and things she's trying to mean. And one of my favorite ones that she kind of adopted was, I am her big pink flamingo in her green garden of life. Another couple quotes she's thrown at me these are throughout the years. She probably won't remember all the stuff she said to me, but I do. I kept notes. But one of the big ones is, doing what is right isn't always popular, and doing what is popular isn't always right. One of my personal favorites, and she got a kick out of it when I read it to her, and I really do believe in this, and this is kind of her and I's attitude without knowing that it was our attitude, but it does fit us, is the reason, it's anyone, even for those who are young at heart, the trick to it is, and the saying really does make sense to me, you don't stop playing, you know, using your imagination, being a kid at heart, you don't stop playing because you got old. You got old because you stopped playing. A broken clock is right twice a day. She taught me that. Yes, Mom, you did. Don't argue. Another big thing she did that she says to me is about life. L-I-F-E. In the middle of the 4 letters, or 2 letters, called if. She goes, there's a big if in life. Literally. And figuratively. A quote that she told me when I was like 15, 16 years old, and she's probably long forgotten it until I relearned it, and she's dead on about it. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything. And oh Lord, have I learned things. So she's got these quotes that she does and things she tells me and just different things. And one of the first ones that stuck out when I was thinking about doing this video for her was, she's not a optimistic or pessimistic person. I mean, she is an optimistic person, but you know, you see the glass half full, half empty. That's not what she does. She doesn't look at it that way. That's not my mother. Here's her attitude. Be thankful you have a glass, and be grateful there is something in it. That's just her attitude. And I don't know, I've seen her weather storms that I know other people would not weather the same way. She's a tough cookie. That woman, I've watched her pick herself up, dust herself off, and keep going, when pretty much everybody else I know would just bawl their eyes out and have a meltdown. She told me after my sister passed away, this is a little sensitive subject, but this is the truth, when I wasn't grieving, she tells me, you need to take time to do it. She goes, I know you don't want to, but take time to do it. She goes, that involves pounding that steering wheel, go out in the woods somewhere, screaming till you're hoarse. She was crying like you're throwing a tantrum. She goes, if you need, you do what you gotta do. She goes, you don't gotta tell people about it. You just gotta do what you gotta do. But that's just how she's always been with me. She's always been very, very upfront, very forward. Sometimes people, my friends have been around, they say, oh my God, I can't believe my mother said that to you. I'm like, she's always handled me that way. I've always been through, and I didn't always like it either. I mean, not everything my mother said to me was easy to digest. There are a few things she's told me that should have been chased with some Tums. I mean, some of the stuff she said to me, but I look back at it now and I can honestly say that I get it. I totally get why she did what she did. I see why she did it. You know, even the stuff that I bitched and screamed and moaned and groaned and threw just fits over, because she's one of those people that will tell you that bad things are going to happen, because life's not easy. It's meant to be lived, and you have to look back at it and realize that even though you could have hated every second, you could have loathed the entire event, whether it be 5 seconds or 5 years, you can hate all you want. It's like sandpaper in that way, because when you're done using sandpaper, there's nothing left of it. What? 2 of them. This one's for my mom for her birthday. She doesn't even know it yet. Yeah, just wait. So anyway, I'm almost done, really. So but yeah, she's hopefully I'll get her on here. Well, yeah, you see a little snippet on the Helium one, but that is. I mean, even my friend Anaya, who watches these, she'll tell you that's just the tip of the iceberg with my mother. She's known my mom for years. Her mom and my mom went to school together. They've known each other for years, and but anyway, so yes, mom, this one basically was about you, and everything I said on is totally the truth. I mean, you. If somebody had to ask me if there's one thing about you I can't stand, one thing about you that drives me absolutely crazy, that I just thinking something that you do that just, what is it? There's got to be something. I know there's a few things. Your obsession with your soap operas. And she used to get Soap Opera Digest, and she would go to the bathroom and read her stories, okay? Well, I would go in there, and she'd have a bookmark in it. Well, I would move the bookmark a few pages back, a few pages ahead, just to mess with her. I've taken the hairdryer, filled it with baby powder, so when she went to go get her hair done for work, like it was all, wrapped in a towel, I've done that. I've done a few things like that with her. It's, yeah. I've made life interesting. If anything, she can honestly say that around me, or if you and her, other people will tell you, especially people that I live with, will tell you that when her and I get together, it's never a dull moment. People have known me since I was like 15, 16 years old, so when my mom and I get laughing, carrying on the walls of the house with Bo in and out. So, but anyway, I'll keep this under like 20 minutes. But yeah, so there, Mom, I talked about you. Since you obviously weren't on here yet. To give people an idea of what kind of mother I sprang from your loins. I really didn't spring from them. They had to pull me out with salad spoons because she couldn't. She was in labor with me for 20 hours. I was wallpapering her uterus. What else are you gonna do for that much time? Seriously, what gay guy would be in a uterus that long? Anyway, on top of that, you guys already know that. So yeah. So Mom, have a good birthday. You'll probably get something more out of it than just a video, but I had to do something. It was random. I thought of it last second, so yay. So, anyway. Okay. Let me think. Is that everything I want to talk about? Okay. In plain English, to sum that all up, now that I've had a chance to think about it all, I guess I lucked out. Because not all parents are as easygoing as my mother is. Most of them are fairly okay. But I could have had a mother who was a real bitch. But she wasn't. I mean, she had her moments, trust me, while I'm thinking, wholly unreasonable. I mean, but no, I was trying to think of something that would be a pain in the butt to talk about you about. Something to level out the playing field, but I don't know. You kind of always, you're pretty much what I think a lot of my friends were jealous because my mom, she didn't have the big checkbook. She couldn't go out and buy me a car. She couldn't get me, material stuff. She couldn't buy me the new PlayStation or get me this or get me that. She couldn't do that. But she did something that I guess money can't buy. I think she really did. You can't pay there is no price on it, put it that way. Because I look back at it and I see, she did what she could, and I mean, she's also one of the people that can take, another one of the little quotes is there's 24 hours. She always look at me when I'm trying to do too much. She goes, Kenneth, there's 24 hours in a day. Nobody gets more, nobody gets less. It's on how you manage it. But I swear she could pull 36 hours out of 24. I've seen her do it. I was like, how did you do that, Like, how did you make that work? But, I don't know. I lucked out. I used to wish when I was younger that my parents had more money. Typical teenage things that could, wanted a car, all that stuff, but I didn't get that stuff. And I had to learn to drive in a station wagon. There's a lot of things that were kind of weird defaultly, like, I mean, she wasn't June Cleaver, she wasn't, you know, the mother off of the Muppet Babies or off of a sitcom. She wasn't the mother off of the Waltons. She was my mother. And I hope you live one hell of a long life, because you've got a lot more. There's some miles on your tires. There's a lot more to go do. I mean, she does so much, and I think some people do recognize it, and they see how much she does and how much she goes overkill on. I get it, honest, really, I do. But I don't know, I lucked out. I didn't find, I found out that not every mother is this understanding. I've seen mothers that totally blow their kids off. They think that by buying their kids the toys and all the neat stuff, that that's what makes parenting easy. And my mom will tell you, parenting is not easy. There's nothing easy about it. And she told me the first, me being in labor for 20 hours, and I said, that had to have been exhausting. She goes, oh, Kenny, it hurt. It hurt. She goes, I was exhausted. I couldn't push anymore. I'm like, okay. Because she was 85 pounds when she got pregnant with me. But then she said, once you're out, and they clean you up, she goes, and then when you first hold on to the baby, she goes, you forget about all the pain. She goes, it all goes away. You don't even think about it. So, yeah, I got a mother that I wouldn't trade you for anything, because you're weird. You are, I don't know, supportive, easygoing, laid back. You have your moments. I've gotten to witness them. But, I mean, when she had to be stern, she could do it. And Randy, other friends of mine, have seen my mother do this. She can drop me. I'm like 6 foot tall, and she's like I tower over her, but trust me, she might be 5'1", but she can put this 6-footer here on the ground in one little flick. It's amazing how, I don't even know how she does it. I still can't figure that out. But I don't know. I know I wasn't the easiest kid to deal with growing up. I'm well aware of that. But she definitely had her father's patience, which I inherited, I found out. And one thing I told her about having patience, I said, I feel like people take advantage of me. She goes, Kenny, remember this. When someone says you have too many patience, she was just telling them this. When you need someone patient with you, you're going to appreciate those patience, because someone's giving you that patience and understanding and compassion and time to learn. She goes, Kenny, I treated you the way I want to be treated. I'm like, really? She was never a physical mother. Like, she never hit you. I'm like, that wasn't her. She was a goofball. She was, sometimes I think she was serious in the right places, and sometimes I think she could have been more serious. That's just a personal preference. In other places, she wasn't serious at all, and other things I was serious about, she wasn't, and vice versa. And, as a human being, as a person, as a mother, as the hat she's worn, I don't know. I just keep thinking about that. Gotta love those Westminster chimes. But she's, I don't know. I lucked out. She could have been a complete opposite person, but I asked her, why you treat me the way you do? Why did you go out and do all this stuff? Why would you go out of your way? She didn't have the money to do with the stuff she did. She goes, Kenny, I wasn't going to make you happy with my checkbook. She goes, if I could have, I might have tried, but that wasn't an option I had. I said, what'd you do? She goes, I decided I couldn't afford to buy you this stuff. And I wasn't going to buy. She goes, even if I could have, I really wouldn't have bought you it. I'm like, okay. She said, our Christmases were never huge, because that was just what she's done some weird stuff. I mean, her Christmas shopping is interesting. There's always a conversation with that. But, oh, my poor phone. But, really. But I don't know, I look at my friends' parents and their mothers and how their mothers were. And I can see why a lot of my friends like my mom. And most people meet my mother and they're like, yeah, your mom's really a cool lady. I'm like, oh, she has her moments. And they're like, yeah, but she's different. I'm like, I know. And I'm sarcastic about it, but when I'm sitting down and I'm giving this video some honest thought and really thinking about what it's about, I guess I don't show the appreciation I probably should. I probably should be a little appreciative, throw a few more hugs in there, and tell her that I care. Which I know she knows that, but, you know, I'm just thinking this out in my head here, so. But, yeah, I lucked out. I got a really good mom who's made her own mistakes and will admit those mistakes and knows that I know those mistakes. But, like she said, if you're not making any mistakes, you're not learning anything. And I think she's learned a lot in her 53 years. She's got more ahead of her. I would love to see what she's like at 80. That would be funny. So, anyway. Alright, well, aside that. Alright, well, happy birthday, Mother's Day, all that fun stuff all up them because they're not too far apart. So, I'll see you guys around. Feedback, requests, all the texts, keep them coming in. Subscribe, show your friends. Yak, 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 yak. So, anyway, yeah. Keep rocking. Be good. Toodles! See ya.